Okay, I think we're ready. Um, you can hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Perfect. All right, so welcome back, family. This is Teresa with the Shaman's Dream Project. And one of the lessons in the outline that I came up with a while back was right up at the top is like, what is our relationship to nature? And so, with me today to discuss our relationship with nature is a very beautiful, amazing, powerful sister of mine from Ecuador, and you're going to just love her to death. She is very well connected to nature. And in fact, she is, I'll just mention this real quick. She's on the 10th of August, I believe. She's headed off to do the 13-day vision quest. That's something, if you haven't learned about that, you can see my videos on the vision quest, or you can just look up the vision quest. And what do you happen to know that I know you're going to do the vision quest with Taita Alejo, but do you happen to know the tradition that he practices? Is it from the Lakota?
Yeah, it comes from the FSI, the Fuego Sagrado of Ixachilatlan. It's the tradition that holds the Abuelo Aurelio Tapancali. So yeah, it's a mix between the Lakota, the Mexican, and it mixed here with the Andean. So it's
Yeah, that's amazing. And so, because I know they do it a little differently depending on where you're at. Um, Now, Taita Alejo was the first one in Ecuador to begin that tradition. He started that back in 1996, I think it was, no?
yeah.
And he's been doing it every year since then. Bless his heart. He is, wow. We are so blessed to have him on this planet. Um, I did my 4-day vision quest there. Um, yeah, he's amazing. So we're gonna pray for you, and we're going to drink water for you,
So
and
yes.
we, we're gonna eat for you. So, and we're looking forward to hearing, you know, some more, you know, downloads. Let's say if you get, which you surely will, some downloads, because this is a rite of passage. This is the sort of, you could say, the death that's necessary for the rebirth. Like back in the day, our shaman in the Western Hemisphere, especially, they did this, would take, when you were ready to see beyond the veil, when you were ready to enter the mystery schools, when you were ready to, take it to another level, um, you approached the shaman, and the shaman was in a lake bed, a river bed, and they would hold you down under the water until you nearly drowned. And you had to keep your eyes open, because the shaman has to be able to look into your eyes and see the moment when your spirit is getting ready to leave your body. And then they pulled you up really fast, and the first thing you do is you take that breath of life, right, and breathe that spirit back into you, because it just barely started to leave the body. Now it's coming back in. It's been on that side of the veil, and now it's coming back on this side of the veil. So you have that perception of the other, of who you are, like, wow, I'm not just this little physical 3D skin suit, and it really, it's a life changer, but you have to be ready for it. So Jenny's going to take that to the 13th level when she goes and does her vision quest in August. So congratulations, Jenny, and we'll be praying for you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate your company and your light during this vision quest. I know.
Oh. Okay, so without further ado, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and the things that you learned as a child. You were detached from the city. You were out in nature. So and you were very closely affiliated with the 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 ways of our ancestors, right? And a lot of people don't have that luxury. You know, a lot of folks are born in the cities and they are raised in the cities, and they don't really have much of an interaction with nature. So if if I could, you know, bring help provide a platform to bring the nature to the children, then I'm honored to do so, and I'm even more honored to have you share with us some of your thoughts on that. So over to you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Teresa, to offer this space for the family and give me the opportunity to share with the family too through this word. Well, my name is Jenny. I was born in the city of Riobamba. That's a city in the middle of the Ecuador, near to the biggest volcano here in Ecuador called the Chimborazo. So my family and I, we are descendants of indigenous people called the Puroa, that means the sacred place. And we used to talk Quechua, but you know, through the time we were losing the connection with the language. I had the opportunity some years ago when I was 17 to to start the learning with the medicines, but my introduce, I will say, like the medicine introduced me before, like since I was born, because I was born in in a family with a lot of shaman roots, shall we say that? My great grandfather, he was from the Quisapincha tribe in Ambato, that is a city close to here. So he was a healer. He was a curandero here in my community where I still live, where I'm living right now with in my parents' house. So I grew up like listening to my more to the woman of my family, because I didn't have the opportunity to meet my great grandfather, but I could see the heritage through my great grandmother, that she's still alive. Um, I saw his magic in my grandmother, in my mom, because I heard a lot when I was growing up about the different type of plants and how we can heal. And I remember clearly that when I saw the babies of my family like crying or something, I remember my granny asking the baby like, "Come, bring the baby here. We will clean the baby." And she used to has a egg and start to cleaning with some praise and the espanto, and yeah, so I remember that connection really special for me. So when I had the opportunity to meet the medicines, the power plants of power plants, um, I reconnect with that. I reconnect with my family, with my great grandmother, with my mothers, with the more with the, I will say, the feminine lineage, family side, feminine side from my family. But was beautiful to have the opportunity to honor my great grandfather through the medicine too. So I just finished the last year a degree in early childhood education. So the plan, the dream is that we can build a community with a forest school here in the center of Ecuador in Rebamba. And yeah, so that was a little bit of me.
That is amazing. Now, for the audience who doesn't really understand the terms or the concepts of the limpia that you described that your grandmother would give to the babies, could you just tell us a little bit about the different types of herbs and flowers that are making up this thing that they use to do the limpia or the cleaning all over you? Could you tell us a little bit about those plants?
Sure. Like you know, family. Every plant, I think, and I feel that every plant has a spirit. So we when we can communicate with them, we can ask them like a favor. I understand in that manner, in that way, like it's a favor. Can you? We ask a favor, and we ask to clean. You know, for example, the Rhuda. It's a wonderful plant to have for clean, to clean your aura, to clean your energy when you feel like low of energy. But for especially for the babies, I saw my grandmother and my great grandmother cleaning with the eggs. Of course, the eggs from her hens, you know, from the hens that lives here in the countryside. So it's a way that they start. They first ask to the egg the permission to use it and start to clean the baby, like rub the egg around the baby's body, praying for to quit the espanto, to quit the scary, we said, or how you can say that, to clean the baby.
Well, the way I understand it, when I did this particular one with the egg, very near to where your tribe originates from, I got the impression that the egg represents life. It represents potential life, right? So it has a life force within it, and that any sort of negative energies which had attached to the baby in this case, rolling the egg all over the baby with the prayers of the grandmother or the shaman, basically is coaxing that negative energy out of the life force that is the baby and into the egg. And
Right.
yeah, so and it works. It really does. I'm here to tell you. Now, and one of the plants you mentioned was Rhuda. In English, that's Rhuda. And what are some of the, I know chamomile is one of the plants too, right?
Yeah, well, chamomile we use more for the inflammation, you know, that we use a lot when we feel a little sore. So it's beautiful too for to clean the babies too, like talking about children. I remember my grandmother like making when we with my brother when we used to be children. She used to prepare us like a huge bath of flowers and plants. And I remember the plants, the manzanilla, the chamomile there, because the flowers are the yellow. So that is the connection that our grandmothers and our ancestors had with the plant. That's beautiful.
Wow. So do you remember any of the names of the other flowers and plants besides Rhuda and chamomile? Mint one of them?
Yeah, mint too. We use mint when we feel flu. But for example, here it's more common found tilo plant. I don't know what's the name in English. We use marco too. That's the name of the plant too, like to clean when you have bad energy. It's like the Rhuda to
Awesome.
the.
Yeah.
And of course, I remember that my granny always, when she start or she built with the community a house, we always had a San Pedro in the door because he's like the guardian of the house. So when you plant the San Pedro, you ask a favor to care the space. And yeah,
That is so true. I forgot about that. So it's not just, our skin and our bodies and removing energies from ourselves, but we can also use this on our properties. Yeah, and
yeah,
protect. And because San Pedro is Spanish for Saint Peter. And that is not the indigenous name of the plant, but that's what most people know it by today. But the reason it's called St. Peter or San Pedro is because when the Spanish conquistadors came over, the beautiful indigenous people of what is now Ecuador, but it wasn't Ecuador back then, they shared this medicine, as you do, and they shared it with the conquistadors, and their description of it was San Pedro because Saint Peter is the one who's alleged to have the keys to the gate of heaven. So it's like to see on the other side of the veil, to see what it is like to be in heaven, right? And um, so yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, you're right. He's a grandfather, and he's very strong, very powerful, very loving. And yeah, you can. There's quite a few houses I noticed, especially throughout Ecuador and Peru, and some even here in Mexico, is that they have the Ala San Pedro out in front, and it's like a protector. And if you've ever rubbed up against a San Pedro physically, yeah, you'll notice it's not something you want to mess with. So it's a cactus basically. So, but a very
Right.
magical cactus. So wow, that's cool. You know what else I heard? Not from not from a medicine woman near you, but somewhere more closer towards. I think she was from the south west side of the country, and um, she said that if you have a migraine headache, you take a hard-boiled egg and you put Rhuda on top of the hard-boiled egg and eat it, and your migraine's gone away. Did you hear that too?
No, no, no. But
Okay.
it's amazing. For example, the last time that I was visiting my grandmother was 1 week ago, and my mom, I was expecting my mom, and she didn't. She wasn't coming, so I was a little worried about it. And my granny told me like about the Rhuda. You can drink a little tea of Rhuda, so that helped me with my mom to bring my
Oh,
mom.
that's a very good point. Okay, so for those that refer to the menstruation as something other than your moon cycle, that's what Jenny was referring to when she says moon. So she's referring to her moon cycle. And some women have difficulty with this, whether it could be cramps or excessive bleeding, or maybe the cycle's not on time and it's off by a couple of days, and it throws off all your hormones, and it just makes you like PMS and all this other stuff, right? So to get back in your cycle of your moon, the Ruda is also good. So you just, I would presume, just cut it up, right? Because there's like little tiny leaves on there. You probably strip the leaves and from the stems, and then maybe you crush it or something, or and then boil it and have a tea. Is that right?
It's like a tea, yeah, and you really need you don't need too much. It's just a little bit because it's so strong.
Oh yeah, it's very strong. And it's very fragrant too. If anybody can find a Rhuda plant and just rub the leaves and then smell it, it's a very unique smell, but it's very, you can tell the minute you smell it that it's for cleaning and clearing. So
Yeah.
really amazing. So yeah, that's so true what you said about the spirits of the plants, because that kind of ties into our topic of what is our relationship to nature. So knowing that everything is just a different, it looks different, it has a different aspect to it spiritually, but ultimately it's just a piece of the infinite consciousness, or the great spirit, or the God, or whatever you want to refer to that as. Um, and so there's really no difference for me between a dog and myself. Like, if you pinch me and you pinch the dog, we both feel that. If the dog he's like, there's the mineral, and then there's the plant, and then there's the animal, and then there's the human on the pyramid of, let's just say, exploration of consciousness. So the dog is in theory is slightly, one rung on the pyramid below the experience that you're having as a human being. Although in my experience, I have found that it's easier for me to connect with dogs than it is most people. But in theories, right? So it's the minerals, then the plant, like the rocks and stuff, and then there's the plants, and then there's the animals, and then there's the humans. And he's got his own role too. He has a spirit, and I am not allowed to. He's a sentient being. I'm not allowed to abuse him, tie him up. I'm not allowed to put them in a factory. Well, you know, dogs, cats, pigs, cows, to me, it's all kind of the same. Um, but I don't have like the right to pen them up and keep them in a factory farm condition and just brutalize them and terrorize them and make their lives miserable. And then when I'm ready, just slit their throat. You know, like that's totally goes against the way nature designed it. We're not designed as these in the human skin suit with these teeth, with the bacteria and the acid that's produced in our mouths, as well as the acid that's produced in our stomachs and our in digestive systems. Nor do we have like claws to run and jump on a zebra and sink our claws into the, and you know, we don't have the canine teeth. We don't have any of this. Even our intestines, like if you string them out next to your body, they're 8 times the length, or excuse me, is it yeah, 8 times the length of your body. Whereas you string the intestines out next to a carnivore, it's only like 3 to 4 times the length of their body. So there's not all that, you know, movement for the meat to go through. So primarily, we're not even designed to eat that much meat, you know. Um, but if we do, it should be in a sacred way, you know, where the animal is allowed to run free, and then as you speak to the plants, will you get can I have your permission to use you to help me with this? So I go out into the wild with my tribe, and I speak before I leave, that before I even head out there. I have a conversation with the animal. Will you please make yourself available to me? Will you please make yourself a sacrifice to me so I can feed my family during the winter when I cannot grow the crops? Right? And that's, you know, the winter season is the kapha, as we say in the Far East. The, it refers to Ayurvedic. So kapha is like the season that you're in, and that's the time to consume the meat, right? But when you're in the spring, you're more like in the vata, so you should be eating more of the fruits and vegetables during the spring and summer when they're available, right? Um, so you know, when we go against nature in this regard, and when we hem up animals in factory farm conditions and creating all that trauma and stress for them, I mean, that's, they feel that, right? They have feelings, not just feelings of can I pinch you, but also my baby, you know, my family, my tribe, my need for social interaction. And you take all that away from them and treat them as though there's some sort of inanimate object. It does a lot of damage to the animal. And then you slit the animal's throat, or you don't, but you know, the guy at the slaughterhouse does, in a very ungrateful, disrespectful way, that they slaughter the animals as well. And then all of that fear and darkness and negative
And the
energy
stress.
and stress, yeah, and all the stress hormones, and you're just, you know, putting that into your body. So that for me is one way to illustrate how our disconnection from nature has deleterious effects on us, because it's like the rock that you throw out into the middle of the pond. It makes a ripple, and you can look way out in the middle of the pond and see the ripple, but eventually the ripple is just going to continue to grow until it reaches back to me who threw the stone. So and the original people of New Zealand, not the Aboriginal. They are not under. They are not Ab. They 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 are the original people. The original people of Australia and New Zealand. They understood this concept so well. They actually fashioned a weapon out of it. So when they went to go hunt the kangaroos, they had a boomerang, and the boomerang would either strike the animal that they were trying to hunt and fall there at the same time the animal fell. Or if it missed its target, it would just swoop around and come back to them, so that they didn't have to waste time and energy running over into the bush to find their weapon, to pick it up, to go try again to hit the kangaroo or whatever. By that time, the kangaroo is gone, you know, and they lost the hunt. So that to me is one way to illustrate this sort of connection that we have with nature, and how when we do understand it, like the original people of let's say New Zealand and Australia, they were more effective. They were more, successful. They operated more efficiently. But then when you go the factory farm route and do it like this, then you can see the results of that manifested with a worldwide. Now it's worldwide. It used to just be in the Western countries, but it's like this huge obesity problem and all these obesity related illnesses like hypertension, heart disease, high blood pressure, inflammation, arthritis, all sorts of autoimmune disorders.
Diabetes.
Diabetes, yeah, that's a good one. I see a lot of that here in Mexico as well. It's from eating things that are unnatural, and so that's for me a good way to illustrate when you are and when you are not in alignment with nature, when you do and when you do not understand your relationship to nature. Do you have any other, like, examples you could illustrate that point, like coming from your unique perspective as a part of the indigenous culture in Ecuador?
Yeah, sure. For example, I could talk about some histories and memories about that I have with the relationship with my grandmother and my family because it's my experience. So yeah, my great grandmother used to tell me that when she was a children, there wasn't too much food like right now, like we have right now, cookies and everything in a plastic bag. So she was telling me that she never heard before that the people, died about diabetes or something like that. Memory, I think, when we are connected to the family in the Andes, is that all the families here we have a little garden or a place, because it's important that every family has the right, because I think it's a human right to have a space of land to grow our own food. So I'm totally agree that's important to eat local, to eat the things that we have around us, because are the superfood that our body needs in this environment. So in the same way, I remember my granny always had when we really had important dates, she used to kill their sheep or their chickens. It's not like something that you eat always,
Mm.
and but yeah, so it's only in the some celebration, some party or something like that. But always had I remember my granny always had the respect, because she always like care the skin and yeah, so it's beautiful to remember that type of relationship that we want to keep in this moment with the new generations too.
Oh boy, that's a great example. I love that. Like, that's another way that we respect, which, if we break that word down in Latin, re is means again, and spect means to look. So when we look again at the animal, at the sentient nature of this creature who has a spirit, who has feelings, who has, you know, um, the ability to feel pain, the ability to feel joy and happiness, that we respect, look again, and allow them to have a life that is full. And and then when we do um, say decide, it's a special occasion, it's not every day, right? So we have a special occasion and we slaughter the animal humanely, and we use every part of the body. I know, I've seen actual musical instruments for sale that are made with the hooves of, I guess it's like goats and sheep and stuff, and it's like a hard collagen kind of thing, which is like it's their form of a fingernail, but it's a hoof. It's much stronger and sturdier, and they make the most beautiful sound. It's like a rattle, but it's very unique. And so yeah, using every part of the animal, not being wasteful, not being disrespectful, without dis, without having looked again, or to have failed to look again with the disrespect. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful example. Well, you are most assuredly one of the more fortunate people on this planet to have grown up with this rich tradition that is still kept alive, and that you have been able to understand throughout your entire life what is your relationship to nature, so that you are more apt to thrive, not just survive. Like, you're more apt to evolve, not just revolve. You are more inclined to go out and do the vision quests and go through your rite of passage and become stronger and better and more powerful and more resilient and more just bringing all kinds of light into the world. So not everybody has access to that. So I am so grateful to you, Jenny. Thank you so much for
So much,
sharing
Teresa.
amazing heritage of yours with the world, and may all the children of the inner cities see your beautiful shining face and hear your amazing stories to inspire them to um, again look at the nature of things and how we fit into that, and what is my relationship to the nature. you know um, One last thing I want to share with the audience is, when we have these plant medicine ceremonies, one of the more popular songs that we sing is a very simple song, and it says, the earth is my body, the water is my blood, the air is my breath, and the fire is my spirit. So, earth, air, wind, and fire, the four sacred elements um, of the Western tradition. Now, in the East, they have a little more than four, but um, that's okay. It's basically the same concept, that we are part of this, and everything we do in or to the nature, we do unto ourselves. And I believe this is an especially important message right now, as I see people running around with face masks on, participating in rituals that lend their actions and belief systems to the false light agenda. I'm referring to the Corona game. Um, and then, going through their bottles of hand sanitizer and then just chucking the non-biodegradable plastic bottle into the environment to pollute the environment, because if our environment is polluted, then we are sick. So if you're truly, truly concerned about not getting sick, stop polluting the environment. And that goes for the plastic bottles thrown onto the ground or in the landfills, all the non-biodegradable medical waste. I think it's over 150 trillion, with a T, people, trillion tons, over 150 trillion tons of pounds, excuse me, not tons, of non-biodegradable waste is being put into Mother Earth and into the water to pollute the environment, which will in turn create an environment that is more hospitable to dangerous bacteria and virus, and more inhospitable to us in our well-being. So really good timing, this interview, Jenny. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to include your links below to your Facebook page and to your projects that you're working on. And as you continue to evolve and expand and move into your beautiful potential of who you are as a bright star on this planet, please keep us updated. Please send me the maybe we can do a video if you want to, or we can get more websites from you about the different projects that you're going to be doing, and definitely want to share your work. And I want to wish you all of the best in every endeavor that you do, and I know it will be successful because you are in a good relationship with nature.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I really appreciate all your words, all your blessings. Was a pleasure to be here with the family. Let's remember that every moment is we can make we can make every moment a ritual for us to honor ourselves and our mother, our father, son. So thank you so much, Teresa, for the time to share these messages with the family, the time that it takes from your life and for your heart and for your words. So it's an honor sharing with you. Thank you so much, Teresa.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. All right, my love. Until the next time, be
Aho.
well.
Thanks, Teresa.
And I am with you on that vision quest on the 10th of
Thank
August,
you.
10th through the
We will
12th.
be
Okay.
here. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye.